What is secularism? Now, this debate has been revived yet again by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who spoke about how the opposition made Hindus and Muslims fight under the garb of secularism, and he had exposed their truth. Going back in history, it was on 15th November 1948 when the newly independent Dominion of India was in the midst of a heated debate in the Constituent Assembly on the nature of the Constitution. It was demanded that the word secular be included to the preamble. It was Nehru, along with the chairman of the drafting committee of the Constitution, B.R. Ambedkar, who were also most opposed to the idea of including the word secular in the preamble of the Constitution. It, however, made an appearance about 3 decades later when Indira Gandhi-led government included it in the document as part of the 42nd Amendment of the Constitution. In the decades that followed, secularism in Indian Constitution has come under criticism by several who have repeatedly pointed out to the foreign origins of the words, the inapplicability of it in the Indian context, and the problematic ways in which it has been applied in the country. Independent government implemented secularism mostly by refusing to recognize the religious pasts of Indian nationalism, whether Hindus or Muslims, and at the same time inconsistently by retaining the Muslim personal law. The questions I raise today in the context of upliftment of Muslims are that who is it that is figuring out why the Muslims are poor in our country after 80 years of independence? Why did the Madrassa reform and family reform did not happen for the last 80 years? Does the need for quotas not confirm that we have struggled to uplift Muslims in our country? Who is responsible for keeping the Muslims in our country poor due to the inaptitude or maleficence? And what is lip service appeasement and what is real change of lives and livelihoods of the Muslims in our country? Professor Madhav on the telecast with me. And understanding the gravitas of the word secularism and why was there a debate to begin with in inclusion of the word secularism in our constitution, sir?
I'd like to point out that a democratic country is always secular. Now you have the Church of England is very important in the United Kingdom. It's a democratic country. American presidents swear on the Bible. Well, doesn't matter. It's a democratic country. So democracy, secularism is ingrained in democracy. And that is genuine secularism. That is secularism which treats people of every religion the same. That does not discriminate and say you are belonging to this group or you are belonging to that group. In fact, that's the kind of thinking that led to partition. I think, it is quite wrong. We are all Indians. Whatever religion we profess, the faith we profess, we are all Indians. So again, from that point of view, I'd like to say that it's very, very important to understand that when you're talking about secularism, you're talking about a country which treats every religion equally and does not discriminate among them and certainly does not seek to separate them on the grounds of religion.
Okay. I'm going to come to you, Athazia, over the selective secularism that has been practiced in our country. When we talk about a country that is secular, which is devoid of any partiality towards a particular religion, where all people in the country are looked equally and worked for in terms of welfare and progress on an equal basis, whether they are Hindu, Muslim, whether they are from any particular region, south or north, whether they are belonging to any creed or the language that they speak. But at the same time, there was question raised about if all citizens in our country are secular and looked with the same eye as per the Constitution, why is it that there was a requirement for a law that was specifically meant for Muslims, while the rest of the country had the uniform civil code to follow?
Megha, actually, you are right. There should be a uniform law for everybody. And there is a uniform law in every aspect of our life and society. There are certain personal things which I don't think could be implemented also by any law, except that the marriage, two marriages or multiple marriages, which is allowed in Muslim personal law, or triple talaq, which has been already done with. So now only this aspect is there. And as the society is progressing, I can see that 0.00001% even there is no, two wives or three wives among Muslims. So this is a universal phenomena at a time I am talking about. Now the things are that if it is also reformed, it is better, but it is not effective. And the other law is the inheritance law, which divides the property as per the Muslim personal law, and which is a prerogative of an individual, which it can alter. I can give 50% to my daughter and 50% to my son or to any other person of my relative. There is no bar. But beside that, all the criminal laws, all the other laws, all the civil laws, corporate laws, everything is, same for everybody. So for this also there was, if it could be reformed and if it could be made uniform for everybody, there is no harm. As a Muslim or as a Muslim society, they should not object about it. But during the constitution making, Megha, just 1 minute, there was an emphasis, and that was the greatness of the people who made the constitution, that they took care of a community or of a society which are at a weaker front. So they tried to ensure that they get the dignity and they get certain rights which makes them a bit, safe and, insulated from any other oppression. That is the thing. Though the society of India itself is there, which take care of everybody in a human way, in an inclusive way, so the law doesn't make any difference. We see it in the day-to-day affair also. Let me complete one sentence more. We have never seen Megha Hindu-Muslim in the general life and day-to-day life. It is only last 5-6 years that somehow or the other, the political parties both ways or some way or the other, just for the vote bank politics or some way, there is too much of, these kind of loud kind of hatred and this and that, even in schools and other people. I have seen one guy who has changed his name to work in a particular, as a guard or as a maid servant. So these things have happened.
These things, but when you say that this has only happened in the last 5 or 6 years, I would beg to differ, because there have been amendments, there have been rules, there have been...
I'm not saying that it has... I'm not saying that... Megha, I'm not saying that it has happened in last 6-8 years. I'm just saying it has happened. And though it is a very, very, very isolated case, it is not a general case.
All right, fair enough. But I want to carry, I want to take this discussion to the topic that I'm raising right now with regards to the Muslim reservation that the opposition and particularly the Congress is advocating and is very keen on carrying forward. Hold on, sir. So, one minute. Now, this is the question I want to ask over here is, in the context of Muslims.
Mega,
That we take, it
Mega,
has
let
taken
me-
us, so
let me
just a
come-
moment, sir, I have given you time. I would like to carry forward this conversation, and I want to say is that
No, I
in
just
the
want
last
to respond
80,
about
in
the
the last
Muslim
75
reservation.
years,
Just one sentence.
in the last 75 years, I'll come back to you, sir. In the last 75 years, we have not had any quotas specifically for Muslim minorities. Why is it
There
that
is no
after
need.
80 years, after 75 years, there is suddenly a need that has arisen to provide additionally
I believe-
quotas for Muslims? Second of all, also
is
the
no
question,
need-
why,
there is no need
if
and
according
quota-
to the Congress, there is a requirement for quotas for Muslims specifically, what is the reason? What is the reason that
No.
the Muslim community has
Megha-
not seen the welfare, development and progress in the last 75 years? And who is responsible for keeping them uneducated, backward and non-prosperous?
Mega,
Megha ji, is it for me?
I'll come to you because
Megha?
Athazia wants to make a point, sir, quickly before I go to Sumit P.
yeah. What I want to say, that the quota should be only on economic criteria. Only scheduled tribes should have a quota on the basis of community. Otherwise, it should be on economic criteria. And when it will be on the basis of the economic criteria, all the underprivileged people, and the other thing that the creamy layer, the people who got the benefit of the reservation, and they have generation after generation, their IAS, their doctors, and their kids are also getting the benefit of the quota. That should be removed. And there is no need, no possibility of a quota on the basis of
Okay.
religion. It is
Absolutely.
absolutely wrong.
Okay.
It should be only on economic criteria.
Megha ji, thank you for having me on your show. In fact, answering your question specifically, look, the reason why this was there, I, for a change, agree with Pandit Nehru when he, on the beginning, he opposed that the secular and all is not needed, because what Professor Saab rightly said, democracy is by default are secular. Secularism is a concept wherein there's an intervention of the religion into the governance, where church sends the dictates, or where a mandir can send a dictates. In India, we had nothing of that kind, so the word secular was not needed. Now, after 75, Indira Gandhi was getting weak and she did a backdoor entry and got secular and socialist inserted into the constitution, which was a backdoor entry which was not approved by anybody. And as per the latest information what we have, when our new building of the parliament got inaugurated, the constitution copies which were circulated to the members did not have secular and socialist in it. What is his name? Mr. Adhiranjan Chaudhary ji raised a hue and cry about it, but then he immediately kept quiet because he knew that if he raises a hue and cry, he has to go to Supreme Court. And if he goes to the Supreme Court, then it will be knocked out permanently, because by that time, Indira Gandhi realized that the Muslim appeasement is needed. They wanted to use Muslims as a vote bank. They wanted to keep on going to Jama Masjid and asking Imam Bukhari, bhai fatwa jari karo, and we'll have everybody vote. So Muslim community, unfortunately, has been used as a vote bank, and there was an artificial paranoia created that Congress is the custodian of Muslims, Congress will protect the Muslims, and anybody else comes, oh, there'll be a Muslim genocide here in this country. That was the paranoia which has been there. And secondly, it is primarily which is the Congress which is responsible for the state of the affairs. Under Prime Minister Modi, Muslims have grown, developed, and reached a new level, and new amount of confidence is there. No genocide, no danga, nothing. If you look at the Congress track record, after every week, 10 days, there was a danga here, there was a danga here, and they wanted this dangas to continue. They never wanted it to stop. They wanted to keep this Muslims as a paranoid lord, so that an block vote bank is always sustained. They were insurance of Congress to be in the politics. It's as simple as that. Under Prime Minister Modi, all these notions have gone. Now, why is Muslim community also a bit backward? The reason is there has to be a renaissance within the community. Within the community, they have to come up. Recently, interaction with one of your competitive channels, Mr. Prime Minister Modi said, look, the literate caste, पढ़े लिखे लोग जो मुसलमानों के, they have to come up and take the leadership. You cannot have mullahs and maulanas taking the leadership because they only know one thing. वो तो अपने हिसाब से चलेंगे. So unless until these forward-looking Muslims come up, they talk the truth, they talk the thing and develop the community, bring the community. And Prime Minister Modi even said, अगर आपको लगता है आप सरकारें बनाएंगे, उतारेंगे, वो time निकल गया. That time is not going to come. आप आने वाली नस्लों का जीवन खराब मत कीजिए. I'm quoting the Prime Minister. So the point here is that you come into the national mainstream, be a part of the national mainstream, stream and reap the benefits of development. That Congress era where you were paranoid, where you were purposely kept as the vote bank, where you were kept illiterate, where dangas were let to happen. They would let dangas happen. There were a lot of few people killed so that their hypothesis could survive. And unfortunately, the hypothesis survived for 65 years. It's after Prime Minister Modi came into picture, this all got busted out, and that is what the Honorable Prime Minister said today. Bhai bataiye, Modi ji ke raj mein kahan danga hua? Why dangas are not happening now? Why were they happening at Congress tenure?
Okay, let's get an advocate Rain also on the telecast with me. And advocate, the big question, the number one question I ask is that it's been 75 years since our independence, and why has there been a need that has now emerged as per a political party that Muslims need to be given reservation? And also the big question about, is there a difference where political parties are only doing lip service, progress, development and welfare of Muslims under the garb of secularism, under the garb of equality and development for all, and then playing polarization politics, Muslim appeasement, versus the actual reforms, welfare, the projects, the schemes reaching the Muslim people across all spectrum, across all states, across the sexes, male or female?
First, I would like to answer what the earlier speaker said, that PM Modi said that the educated class has to come forward and lead it. But educated class, you need to give them a platform. In your own party, the BJP party, you have not given ticket even to a single Muslim person who is from the educated background, which means that you yourself are saying कि Muslims में कोई तो पढ़ा लिखा है ही नहीं. So if you change your mindset, that's when things would start changing. So it is easy to say that the opposite party is doing this, is doing that. You are not doing anything at all.
But right now, if the BJP's explanation is that the Muslims do, the Muslim candidate, if appointed, if picked, if fielded, will not garner them the votes. It's all about the votes, and if they want to win election, they have to put a candidate that has a winnability quotient.
So do you think that you don't have even a single Muslim person all over India who can lead you, who can help you out in the parliament?
I can answer that.
And wait, let me speak. No. You think that there's not even a single person who can be a minister? You think that there's not even a single person who can be a part of the parliament and speak?
We had Mukhtar Ansari, who was the Minorities Affairs Minister in the cabinet of Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Mr. Modi had only one Mr. Mukhtar, that too he had. This year, not even a single person has been given a ticket. So the point is that it is same. All the parties are doing the same thing. You just want to say, आप सामने से आके बोल रहे हैं कि we don't care what you do, whether you are an educated one or you are not from the learned class. But the other parties is at least giving you little space somewhere. So if you keep on saying that the appeasement is there, secularism, that word has given a comfort to everyone. Yes, every political party, they keep on talking about Hindu Muslim. No one is talking about the development. No one is talking about having peace all over India, and no one is talking about how we can grow more, we can have a better living standard.
But isn't it a fact that the Hindu-Muslim riots have reduced, in fact, come to a nil? They're zero now. In the last 10 years. Isn't it a fact that the Ujjwala Yojana and the Lakhpati Didi and the Mudra Yojana and the toilets and the LPG gas cylinders, the infrastructure, the roads that have been built, the trains that have been built, the airports that have been built, then they are for the development of the entire nation and the public, and Muslims form a significant part of the country, of the citizens of the country. And when we talk about the development of Muslims, and why are there more percentage of Muslims who are undereducated, who are uneducated, who are not allowed to grow, is there an inherent, when development is happening all across, on all factors, on all segments and all sectors across the country, are there certain institutions, certain individuals, certain leaders, certain political parties who would prefer Muslims to stay backward because it benefits them?
Look, the point is that if you say that anything wrong has happened, yes, 2020 is the perfect example. Delhi riots, that's the perfect example that at this day and age also Hindu and Muslim rights happened. All right, so if you say that in last 10 years nothing happened, no, it actually happened. Assam we have different states also. In UP we have been seeing in Hyderabad also. So Muslim and Hindu rights has been happening. Problem is that the ruling party, I am so sorry to say, but yes, it has happened that when you start talking something wrong, so any Tom, Dick and Harry gets the right that when the PM can talk wrong, when someone sitting on such a higher post can talk wrong, we also have a right. So any Tom, Dick and Harry starts talking about, "Are Hindu to aise, are Muslims to aise." If the heads of the family...
I'm just asking a very straightforward, simple question, and that's how I started my debate. And I asked you this question. In the last 75 years of our independence, when there have been quotas allocated to scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, and this was the amendment made under Nehru and has been carried forward by minister after minister, whether it is Indira, Rajiv, Vajpayee or Modi, why have suddenly the political parties, and one in particular, woken up and decided that, listen, quotas are required for Muslims?
No, Muslims don't require any quota.
No, that's what I'm asking. Why is this political party saying that this time around, if I come to power, 4% or 20% or 25% of the quota that was being given to the scheduled caste and the scheduled tribe and the OBC will go into the pocket of the Muslim minorities?
They have not read anything. Muslims, those Muslims who fall under OBC, they are...
Can I come in?
Wait, Mr. Arthur, please, let me complete. So those OBC, those Muslims who fall under OBC, they have their quota. Under Minorities Act, you have that quota. So whosoever is making this kind of statement is making a very vague statement. It's not possible.
Is it a vague statement or a targeted statement? Understanding how the psyche works of Muslim appeasement, and you are sending a subliminal message to the people when you talk about wealth redistribution, caste census and reservation for Muslims.
No. Muslim...
Can I come in?
I'll come to you, sir. Let her complete.
Minorities have their own reservation, and every minority, be it Muslim, be it Jain, Christian, everyone have their own share. So there is going to increase.
Exactly.
So I am telling you it again. Someone is making a wrong statement because this is not possible. Muslims will get dismissed of thing. It's not possible.
It is, ma'am, it is possible. It has happened in Karnataka. The same was they tried to do it in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, and even increase that percentage of quota for Muslims up to 25%, but that was rejected. I'll come back to the rest of the panelists. Let me give Professor Nalapat also a platform to speak. So what do you make of all the comments that have been made by our panelists and the narrative that is being played, and the question, who is doing lip service development for the Muslims versus the reforms that are actually happening? Professor Nalapat. I'll come to you, Atizia. Professor Nalapat.
Megha, I want to make the point that whether you're a Hindu or a Muslim or a Christian or a Sikh, you want a modern life. For that, you need a modern education. Therefore, you need to be taught subjects that can be helpful to you in a modern life. Now, all our discussants have had modern education. They've had that benefit. Consequently, a lot of opportunities have opened to them, which they would not have had had they had a different type of education. So I think it's incumbent, frankly, to talk about ensuring that everyone gets a modern education. Everyone gets the skills needed for a modern life. I think that is what is needed. Quotas, frankly, are not the answer. You had quotas for a very long time, and clearly from the statistics, it has not helped very, very much. The reality of the situation is what is needed in a very fast changing world with a lot of new opportunities, a lot of new technologies, is to ensure a modern education. And you've seen, for example, Wipro, run by Azim Premji, one of the most successful IT companies in the world. You have seen, Cipla, run by Yusuf Hamid, one of the most successful generic drug manufacturers in the world. The fact is, they had the advantage of modern education. They looked into a modern way. They didn't search for quotas. And most importantly, Megha, they did not have a victim mentality. It's very important for all of us not to have a victim mentality. When you have victim mentality, you become defeatist. And then you wait for someone else to help you. In this case, the government or a political party. You have to help yourself. And that can happen.
Okay.
And there are tens and millions of stories in India about people who have helped themselves and reached the top. And I think that is important.
Yeah, agree. Agree. Then, Atazia, why has madrasa reform not been the agenda of any government up until now? Or even the Muslim leadership, the erudite individuals who lead the Muslim community in our country, and why are questions raised against the BJP government when they talk and deliver on madrasa reform, and even being called Hindutva, pro-Hindu, anti-Muslim party?
Megha, first of all, there is urgent need and there are being madrasa reform in the society itself. All the madrasas are getting restructured and the BJP government is doing a very good job to get the madrasa set right. One thing. And actually the madrasa, there is no need. It should only the modern education which should be taught, and the right of modern education should be made compulsory and fundamental right, so that no parent can deprive his child from getting the modern basic education till 8. One thing that the BJP government should do vehemently, and they have done a good job in that. But the other point is, as far as quota or other thing is concerned, the equal opportunity should be there. There should not be discrimination, and the quota should be on economic criteria. The BJP government should take a decision that the creamy layer should not get the benefit of the quota, and only SC, ST should get the quota. Then all the things will be resolved. And as you were asking, why this particular party is asking or saying, saying and pleading for Muslim quota, it is just because of the politics. It is so clear. It is a politics.
All right. Okay, fine. I have very little time. You've made your point. Sumit, 30 seconds.
Okay, Meghaji, let me answer a very important question. But my co-panelist said why there is not one Muslim given a ticket. Look, very simple, it's on the winnability. And secondly, tell me for the sake of God, let's say my brother Athar wants to contest an election. As an independent, if he has the support, if he can win the votes, he can contest as an independent and win. So where is there a lure that you have to be endorsed by Modi ji and BJP? But if you want to use the goodwill of BJP and Modi ji, then Modi ji as a politician has to decide, does he give a ticket to you? Now, if I go to, sir, I'm a Hindu, do you think he will give a ticket to me? Do you go as a Hindu? Do you think you are guaranteed a ticket and Athar is not guaranteed a ticket? So this notion has to be completely put to rest. If somebody wants to contest, you can contest on your own and still win. BJP giving a ticket or not giving a ticket doesn't determine your winnability. So that's
in fact, Congress on certain of the constituencies, Congress on a number of constituencies this time around in 2024 have withdrawn the Muslim candidates. They have replaced them with Hindu candidates.
I was coming to that. You see, Meghaji, look at Samajwadi Party. They've been talking of Yadav Muslim Taqat. 2014, 22% tickets given to Muslims. 2019, 14%. 2000, aaj ki baat kare, if you're talking of today, they have given only 4% tickets to Muslims. Go and ask Akhilesh Yadav, from 22, why has he come to 4%? He's a hardcore Muslim supporter. He talks for Muslims. He's a good well-wisher of Muslims. If he has reduced his quota to 4%, what is wrong? Because it's again the question of winnability. Then why do you only question BJP and why do you only question Prime Minister Modi for everything? Does it mean being a Muslim will get you a ticket and get you a seat? Does it mean being a Hindu will get you a seat and get you a ticket? It doesn't mean. It is simply... And last point I want to add,
BJP and Modi ji has the
if you talk of
any candidate with irrespective of religion.
If you talk of minorities, Muslims are the second biggest majority here. Who is the most successful person in India? It is Mr. Ratan Tata and Tata Group. They are the lowest single point digit minority of India. So that solves all the myth that because of a minority you cannot grow, you cannot develop. What about Ratan Tata? Parsi is 0.00001% of the population, the most successful industrialist, son of soil.
Nobody is saying that. Nobody is saying
Okay.
What is the notion about?
Okay, all right. Fair enough. All valid points. I come to the end of the discussion. I'm out of time, but I thank all of you for joining me on the telecast, sharing your views on this subject.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.